Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. My name is Maggie Spellman. I am the president of the Patrick Pierce Center here at the Irish American Club, and on behalf of the Patrick Pierce Center, as well as the Irish American Club, thank you so much for coming, and I'm very pleased to introduce Margaret Lynch.
Hello, everyone. We've got a succession of people who've got a great story to tell, so I won't take much of your time. Thank you very much, Maggie, Patrick Pierce Center, Irish American Archive. That's my group, Irish American Archive Society. Thank you to them as well, but Irish American Club inside for welcoming and embracing our guests from Ireland who have a great story to tell. I'm going to introduce you to our first speaker, who's going to then introduce, there's going to be 4 people who are going to tell parts of this fascinating story of retrieving, preserving, and telling about a fascinating slice of history. Yvonne Watkins.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Margaret has just said, my name is Yvonne Corcoran-Loftus, and I'm the curator at the Michael Davitt Museum in Strade, County Mayo. And it's wonderful to be here today at the East Side Irish American Club. Thank you so much for hosting our exhibition. A special thanks to Margaret Lynch and Colleen Corrigan Day for inviting us out here during what is such an important week for the Irish community in the city and for organising our itinerary. It's an honour to be here at a time when you commemorate the 20th anniversary of the Achill-Cleveland twinning relationship. We were at the gala last night and we were blown away. It was absolutely fantastic. I'm sure that this and the many other events that have taken place over the weekend will help strengthen business, tourism and cultural ties between the city of Cleveland and County Mayo. I have witnessed for myself the incredible bond between both communities. It is my first time here in Cleveland, and our group have had an opportunity over the last few days to explore the city and meet various officials, including the Mayor, Justin Bibb, people both inside and outside the Irish community. And I'm incredibly grateful that so many people have taken time out from their busy schedules to meet with us. The community can be proud of the role that they have played in the development of the city over a long time period, while simultaneously their remittances back to Ireland, and Mayo in particular, greatly benefited those in their native land. I'd like to sincerely thank Mr. Austin Vaughan, the Mayo County Librarian, for the great interest he has shown in the Pat Chambers Civil War collection. Through his endeavours and his recognition of the importance of the diaspora, funding was secured to ensure that you, the Irish community in this great city, would have an opportunity to view this collection. A collection that unsurprisingly reveals strong connections between Cleveland and the Newport Achill area. I would also like to thank the Cathaoirleach, Michael Loftus, and councillors Brenda Mulroy and Sarah Burke, who are here with us today. Now I'd like, if I may, put on my museum hat for a moment and provide you with a little information on the Michael Davitt Museum. Located in Strade, County Mayo, the birth and burial place of Michael Davitt, the institution promotes his life and achievements. Forever remembered as the father of the land league, his tireless work for the poor and dispossessed ensured that tenant farmers were converted into owners of the land that they had tilled for generations. No doubt there are many in this room whose grandfathers and great-grandfathers took possession of their land due to the selfish work of Davitt. Davitt's lived experience, which included eviction during the Great Hunger and the loss of an arm as a child labourer in a Lancashire textile mill, gave him a natural affinity with the poor and downtrodden. Michael Davitt visited Cleveland on several occasions to connect with the Irish community in a city that displayed a strong commitment to land league objectives and self-government. Prior to this, he was an advocate of physical force republicanism. As a committed Fenian, he sat on the Supreme Council of the Irish Republican Brotherhood. His activities led to a significant prison sentence, where despite his disability, he was forced to engage in long periods of hard labour and solitary confinement. He was very active in the trade union movement in Ireland, England, and the United States. He owned and edited his own newspaper entitled Labour World. He authored 6 books on a variety of topics. Davitt uniquely was appointed a patron of both the GAA and Glasgow Celtic Football Club. He believed in universal free education and equality for women and minorities. His campaigns of passive resistance inspired Mahatma Gandhi. His many friends included President Theodore Roosevelt, whom he visited on many occasions. He campaigned for social justice wherever his wandering feet took him. So you're very welcome to visit us on your next vacation to Mayo, and my colleague John Reid and I are very happy to provide further information to you later on. Now, outside of the Michael Davitt story, our main focus is on our Preserving Heritage, Broadening Access programme. We aspire to preserve and conserve history and heritage and showcase that to as many people as possible, either physically in the museum or online, or in this instance with the Pat Chambers Civil War collection travelling to you, the Irish community in Cleveland. In September 2021, Pat Chambers found a treasure trove of documents relating to the Civil War in the Newport area. They were carefully concealed in a jar in the wall of an old building he was renovating on his land. He immediately recognised the significance of the papers and travelled to the Michael Davitt Museum in Strade with his extraordinary find. Once the content and the condition of the papers were examined, it was clear that it was sorry, I think it's gone off. Speakers, tested. Oh, speakers gone off? Yeah.
Wonderful time to take it the pastries.
Bluetooth mode.
Oh, testing. Oh. Apologies about that. In September 2021, Pat Chambers found a treasure trove of documents relating to the Civil War in the Newport area. They were carefully concealed in a jar in the wall of an old building he was renovating on his land. He immediately recognised the significance of the papers and travelled to the Michael Davitt Museum in Strade with his extraordinary find. Once the content and the condition of the papers were examined, it was clear that a considerable amount of conservation work was required in order to save this important piece of history. With the assistance of financial support from the Heritage Council's Capacity Fund, we were able to engage in the services of a paper conservationist to clean and provide volume to this collection. I'd like to thank my colleagues at the Michael Davitt Museum, and a special thanks to Trace Hosey-Hughes and John Reid. John is here with us this evening and will be speaking later on. Trace and John carried out numerous interviews with local historians who provided knowledge and context, while they also liaised with various stakeholders over the past couple of years. The exhibition was launched in July 2022 by Government Minister Jack Chambers. Jack's father hails from the Newport area. Other speakers included the CEO of the Irish Heritage Council, Virginia Tehan, and of course, the main man himself, Pat Chambers, spoke, making a great contribution. An enormous crowd attended and a great day was had by all. The exhibition was on display for several months, and such was its popularity that an abridged version of the collection remains prominently displayed in the Michael Davitt Museum. Pat has featured on many television and radio programs over the past couple of years, and his passion for this project is incredible. A sincere thank you also to Anta McNulty at the Mayo News for his continuous support on this project, and to all the councillors from Mayo County Council. I want to thank Pat, his wife Liz, his daughter Maggie, son Patrick, and all his extended family for their great kindness that they have shown to us on our many visits to Newport. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave it at that, and I know that Pat, Sophie, Mick Mulcrone, Sean Cadden and John Reid will go into more detail on the content and the significance of the papers. So thank you all very much for attending, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks, Yvonne, for introducing me. It's a pleasure and an honour for me to come here to Cleveland with my collection. I suppose, what can I say for the turnouts we have seen over the last few days? Last night at the gala, Friday night at the East Side, unbelievable the amount of people that showed up to view the exhibition. I suppose going back to September 2021 changed my life and my family's life. My wife Liz, my son Maggie, my son Patrick, my daughter Maggie. We never thought, when you look at the old shed here, how things could change my family's life. This was the old shed before we done a renovation job on it. I was going to bulldoze it down, but we seen an ad in the local paper, myself and my wife, about a heritage grant of 75% to restore these old farm buildings. So we decided to have a go at applying for the grant. We applied for the grant, and after a bit of back and forward talking between the Heritage Council of Ireland, we were successful. On the 13th of September, I had workmen in Ryan and Kane Construction. I started work on the building. At about 12 o'clock on the 13th of September, I got a call. Come over here. We have something to show you. So I arrived back at the old shed, and James Hopkins, one of the work lads on the job, handed me the jar. He said, "There's queer stuff in this." I didn't realise. I took it out, looked at it, and I thought, what is it? They said, go home and study it. So I went back home, myself and my wife, and I had a very good friend down the road who was working for me on another job. And he said, Pat, this is significant. You have found a treasure trove. So I was wondering, what am I going to do with this? So I thought straight away of the Michael Davitt Museum. My good friend, John Reid, I've been very friendly with family through the years, and I knew John worked in the Michael Davitt Museum. So my friend and me, we headed to the Michael Davitt Museum. That's me in the shed. So, this is my aunt here. I had to mention her because inside the letters that we knew, the letters, I let Sean Cahan and Mick Mahone will talk about what was in the letters. They were between a guy in Cleveland. I let Sean talk about that and Mick, and my granduncle Tom and Mary McCrone, and my aunt Phil here in the picture. She was reared. They had no family, Tom and Mary. So Philomena was reared back there for lots of her childhood. And she always said to me, Pat, if only the walls could talk, they'd have lots of history in them. Well, the walls did talk. Here in this picture, there's these are all Tom Mahone's, Tom and Mary's neighbours. And that picture was taken back in the 40s or maybe 50s. And these are people from neighbours, and there's one woman here on the extreme right, and she was a visitor home from America. And we're not sure is it Tom Mahone's sister or not, but we'll let Sean or Mick talk about that later. On the far right of the picture, we have Mary Davitt. Next to Mary Davitt, we have Sarah Gorman. Sarah Gorman married Eddie Fitzgerald from Newport. Next to Sarah, we have Mary McCrone, my grandaunt, and her husband Tom. And in at the back of them, we have Katie Mahone. Katie Mahone married Paddy Kilroy, who spent a lot of his time in Chicago. And next to them is Nora Moore. She was a sister of James Borden, who was shot in Newport on the 7th of March 1923, which a lot of the letters and documents found in the jail related back to. There was a black diary, a diary notebook in that chair, and there were songs and poems in it in relation to the death of Jim Morton. And anyways, going back to it, this man here, I know I had to mention, I couldn't come without mentioning him. That's my dad. He visited Cleveland here in 1990, and he had one great memory of visiting Cleveland. He came to visit one man, and that was Big Mike Chambers. He often talked about it, and he said when he landed outside Mike's house, as Mike came down to greet him down the street, he said, "You goddamn son of a bitch, you made it." Well, I suppose that man, when Tom Mahone and Mary passed away, in 1958 Tom Mahone passed away, and in 1961 his wife Mary passed away. And everyone thought my dad had the land, but he hadn't. But in 1987, Tom's nephew passed away in England, and Tom's nieces and nephews put the farm up for sale. So my dad purchased the farm back in 1987. And I suppose if my dad hadn't purchased that farm back in 1987, I mightn't be here today telling the story. This is Jim Morton, that was shot dead outside Newport on the 7th of March, 1923. And this is the finished shed, looking at its best, which we now use for sheep and different things put into. So it's a big improvement in the shamble it was when I first started it in September 2021. And that's the grave of Jim Morton in Borrashule Abbey, Newport. And now I think that will finish me, and Mick Mahone is going to sing the song later, and my niece Sophie now is going to read out one of the poems that was in the jar, and I've said it on national TV and across many of the radio stations in Ireland. Every time I hear this poem and read it, it makes the hair stand on my head. Thanks very much.
Of Jim Moran. What matters now died. Your blood was shed for Ireland. And we who wait for freedom's tide recall with mingled grief and pride your sacrifice for Ireland. We loved you as a comrade true who pledged your soul for Ireland. When traitors spurned our Roisin dove, she still had friends to dare and do, as you have done for Ireland. When timid souls in silence wept, unceasingly for Ireland, when cowards in their fetters slept, 'twas men like you the vigil kept, for persecuted Ireland. Then rest in peace, O darling soul, upon the breast of Ireland, and when we march to freedom's goal, your name will shine on glory's wall, with those who died for Ireland. Thomas Mulcrone, Doon Trusk, Carabeg, Westport.